This conference will now
Yes,
be
sir.
recorded.
Okay. Okay. Bidani sir, I think we can start, sir. Hello. Dr. Bidani sir, can we start? Hello, sir. Hello. Can you hear what he's speaking, all of you? Dr. Kalayawani, can you hear?
No, sir.
Okay.
Voice is not audible, sir.
Okay. Dr. Bidani
Hello.
sir, we can start. We can start, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we have gone 2 slides ahead, sir. Shall we start from the first slide again?
Yeah. Okay. So is
Okay.
it okay? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
screen
Yeah. Yeah.
visible?
Yeah. Actually, I was trying to contact you, sir, because maybe my voice was not reaching you.
Yeah.
We can start now, sir. No problem. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. A very good afternoon. First of all, I would like to apologize for day before yesterday's incident. I don't know what exactly happened. Maybe some technical issue because I was delivering the lecture and I was under an assumption that everybody is listening, and I was elaborating. I was sharing my cases, and it was like uh, quite uh, uh, quite puzzlesome, and I would say that it was quite a shocking incident when I came to know after an hour or so that I was speaking all alone. Nobody was listening because there was no as such communication. And I was assuming that, yeah, I am on the right track and everybody is listening to my lecture. Anyway, it happens. But then it gives you some sort of a stress. Yeah. What sort of a stress? Like, then there comes thoughts, one thought after another, second thought after another, that what might be the student thinking? That all of a sudden Dr. Navneet left without informing, without, and yeah, students were waiting, Dr. Samir was waiting. And the irony was that I kept my phone on a silent mode, and Dr. Samir was continuing, he was messaging me, he was calling me that you are not audible, where are you, you are not visible. But it was on a silent mode. So again, stress. So what was the impact of that particular incident stress? The same night, I was like, uh, what exactly happened? Whether I was not prepared, whether there was, some network connection from my side, or maybe from the other side, or whether there was some electronic issue, something like that. So that particular thoughts keep me bothering on and on and on. And that night I couldn't sleep well. So can you imagine a small incident without any fault of others can disturb you, can disturb your sleep, can disturb your emotions, and next day you won't feel refreshed. Just a small incident. Now imagine what a bigger incident or a longer period of stress can have an impact upon your body, upon your mind, and upon your health. So this is what exactly we will be covering today. That even though the topic is the skin, since we are taking a dermatological classes, so the topic is skin, but we are going into the depth of the cause, what happened, why I am getting such sort of symptoms, why I am getting such sort of rashes, such eruptions, all of a sudden. I was quite okay last year. I was quite okay 2 years back. Everything was same, like my eating habits were same, environment was same, um, stress was like that only. What exactly happened that triggered these eruptions? That what was the cause behind these eruptions? Why my skin suffered? Why I suffered? Why my entire body suffered? What was the triggering point behind that suffering? So today's topic is the skin, an outer reflection of inner aging. So just like a termite that starts eating wood and from the inside, and you get to know after so many days when you saw that, yeah, why, what happened to my cupboard? All of a sudden it started, breaking it out. The action started way back, but the reflection is now. The visible effect is now, but the initiation, it started way back. So what we are saying today is the effect of yesterday, or maybe a month back, or maybe a year back, or maybe a couple of years back. So what exactly happened during those days are impacting our lives now. So while dealing with any case, be it a dermatological case or be it any other case, you will have to go into the depth of the cause. You'll have to probe more and more. You have to ask again and again what happened since the day you started, these patches. At times you'll have to ask the straight questions because patients won't be very much comfortable in dealing with, sharing each and every incident of his life in a very first or second meeting. So you should be capable enough to dig deeper. You should be capable enough to probe more and more. You should be capable enough, to understand the mind of the, that particular patient. And all these things, it's been more than 22 years of my practice. And since the day I did my, post graduation in psychology, the entire thought process changed. The entire case taking method changed. Earlier, I was like just like a keynote prescriber. Okay, there's a dry skin, there are eruptions, that are aggravation during winters. That is better by application of emollients. Give petroleum. There's itching in the scalps. There is scalp psoriasis. There is oozing of pus. There is a sticky discharge. There is smell in the discharge. Prescribe him soranum or meserium. But then these were partial. These medicines were all partially, or rather, I would say these medicines were like a palliative treatment. I was simply suppressing the eruptions or simply palliation, giving them some sort of relief in terms of palliation. But the cure percentage was very less. And since the day I started understanding my patients, since the day I started, talking for hours, with my patients, then gradually my case taking skills improved. Then gradually my percentage of results improved. It was not a one day, process. It was years of practice, years of, hard work. And my dear students, that's why I'm taking so much time on the very first slide just to give you an introduction that why you should focus more on the depth, more inside the man rather than the outside. So let's start as in number of seminars or number of books or number of lectures. You must have heard that emotional stress can affect, reveal, or even exacerbate a number of skin disorders, including psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, pruritus, alopecia areata, lichen planus, seborrheic dermatitis, acne rosacea, or urticaria, or whatnot. You name it, and I can link any sort of emotional stress behind that particular case. So physical and psychological stress has been implicated in the development of numerous diseases. Since numerous animal and human studies demonstrated the effect of sundry stressors on immune function. Moreover, many retrospective studies found that a high proportion of patients reported uncommon emotional stress before disease onset. So this is a well-proven research that up to 80% of patients reported uncommon emotional stress before disease onset. These are not my words. This is well-proven research. But unfortunately, not only does stress cause disease, but the disease itself also causes significant stress in the patients, creating a vicious cycle. Stress, disease, suffering, more stress, more disease, more suffering. Got it? So now it depends upon the patient to patient, depends upon person to person, how he takes that stress. As we all know, that a constitution is a combination of environmental factors and genetic factors. So personality is a combination of genes and environment. And since we all have a different personalities, we all have different constitutions, so we all have a different capacity to take that stress. We all have a different reactions to that stress. And this is why any particular incident, any particular stress is having a different effect on different personalities. So it all depends upon how a person takes that stress. If he is capable enough of coping with that stress, if he is adequate enough to cope that stress, he will somehow maintain that homeostatic balance. He will recover by his own. But if he is a weaker dynamic affection, if he is that particular constitution is weaker by nature, and he is insufficient to cope with that stress, he will get the impairments in the form of disease or disorder or symptoms. How? Because these environmental factors or different sort of stresses put a load on your psychoneuroendocrine immunal axis, thereby disturbing the immune system, thereby disturbing your harmony, thereby disturbing your inner vital force, leading to XYZ disorder, XYZ disease. So this is how an individual interact and is vulnerable to stress. It is again the same that if you have repressed or negative thoughts and emotion, it is the same vicious cycle that it will disturb your neurohormonal immunoaxis, thereby impacting your organs, leading to disease, again suffering, again disease, again stress, again, again that cycle. And we term it as psychosomatic nowadays. That the impact of stress on our body. But to a layman, to a patient, how you will make him understand that really stress is impacting you? So there are a couple of slides, there are a couple of things uh, in a easy layman language that you can guide or you can educate your patients as well. Because at times patients feel that, doctor, I don't have any stress, and you're saying that the cause of your psoriasis is simply stress. I'm a happy-go-lucky person. I don't have any sort of stress. I am well established. I don't have any financial issues. I don't have any personal issues. And still you are saying that I'm having stress. So you'll have to make him understand that at times there is no particular point, there is no particular, um, you can't, what do you say, that you can't pinpoint that particular thing that, yeah, you are having such a such stress, you are having personal stress, you are having professional stress, you are having stress of your studies, you are having stress of exams and all. So coming back to this topic, that's how stress impairs your skin barrier. Your skin barrier is essential for keeping skin balanced and hydrated. Think of it as skin's first line of defense against external aggressors, as well as the seal that keeps moisture locked within. Studies have shown that stress makes the stratum weaker and decreases its ability to retain water. When this outer barrier is disrupted or is not functioning properly, the skin may become dry and itchy. Similarly, stress contributes to clogged pores. Beyond the inflammatory component of acne, stress can lead to breakouts through a different mechanism. In response to stress, your body releases cortisol, a stress hormone, as we all know. And the elevated levels of these cortisol lead to an overproduction of oily sebum by the skin glands, which clogs the pores and may cause breakouts. And at times, your patient directly say this. For a couple of days, I'm having oily skin. I'm having, the oil secretion is quite much from some days. And when you introspect deeply, when you ask directly, you'll get some incident behind that particular, there must be any stress behind that particular factor. So elevated levels of cortisol lead to an overproduction of oily sebum by the skin glands, which clogs the pores and may cause breakouts. Similarly, stress increases inflammation in the skin. Stress is responsible for elevating cortisol levels, as we just discussed, which in turn affects the immune system and can cause inflammation. Stress accelerates signs of aging. With heightened inflammation also comes an increase in the level of enzymes that break down collagen and elastin, which can accelerate signs of aging such as wrinkles and a loss in a skin laxity. Stress can worsen anxiety-related disorders. The other way that stress can majorly impact skin is through anxiety-related behavior. And while there are a number of disorders that fall into this category, The one that affects skin is the most is picking. You must have seen in your practice cases of acne excoriae, also known as pickers acne. It results when acne lesions are compulsively squeezed and scratched, resulting in scabs and scars. This is also often associated with underlying depression, anxiety, or other psychiatric issues. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So acne excoriae, also known as pickers acne, results when acne lesions are compulsively squeezed and scratched, resulting in scabs and scars. This is often associated with underlying depression, anxiety, or other psychiatric issues. Similarly, a patient having post-traumatic stress disorder can also have dermatological issues. So dermatological symptoms can be associated with PTSD in several situations as features of some core PTSD symptoms. Example, intrusion symptoms manifesting as cutaneous sensory flashbacks, autonomic arousal manifesting as night sweats, and idiopathic urticaria. The cutaneous psychosomatic effects of emotional and physical neglect and sexual abuse. Here, just imagine a patient, a 6 months old, or a 5 month old, or maybe a 4 month old baby having eczema. Now, how you will convince your patient that stress can be one of the factors behind this eczema in your 5 month old baby? Can you convince them? How can a 5 month old baby is under a stress? He is not at all aware of his surroundings. He is not aware of what exactly stress is. Then how can we justify our statement that yes, there can be a reason behind any sort of skin disorder even in infants? Here comes the importance of intrauterine history. If the mother is by one or the other reason is under any sort of stress during the entire 9 months of pregnancy or even under the last trimester of pregnancy, the child might inherit that stress from mother to himself or herself. So this is why we should ask in detail, in depth about the intrauterine history. How mother took how mother, whether first of all whether the decision was unanimous, whether both the parents were under an agreement that yes, we should plan a baby now, or whether it was just an accident, or whether it was just pressure from in-laws, and whether the mother get that care and attention from husband as well as in-laws as well as other relatives during pregnancy. So all these factors can have an impact upon your 2 month, 3 month, 4 month baby. So this PTSD is showing symptoms in the baby, but who suffered? The sufferer was the mother. The cutaneous psychosomatic effects of emotional and physical neglect and sexual abuse and the body focused repetitive behaviors such as trichotillomania and skin picking disorder and eating disorders which can have dermatological effects. Trichotillomania is a disease where a person starts pinching or picking or pulling his or her hairs from the roots itself. Similarly, the direct effect of skin of physical or sexual abuse, catastrophic life events like earthquake, or flood, or any such natural phenomenon. As a result of significant alteration in hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal, and sympatho-adrenal and medullary axes, which can affect neuroendocrine and even functions, and can lead to exacerbation of stress-reactive inflammatory dermatosis such as psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, etc. So nowadays there is a different branch of medicine that is dealing only with dermatological cases having cause in their mind. So any sort of this is what we call as psychosomatic disorder as well. But nowadays there are different set of courses. There are as of now only the MBBS and MD doctors are eligible for doing this course. But such even they are giving importance that yes, these dermatological issues are having etiology in the mind, in the nerves, in the psyche of a person. Now they are now they are judging. Now they are accepting the fact, accepting the effects of stress on body. But our master, our sir, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, said this more than 200 years back. See the far-sightedness of our respected sir. He mentioned all these things 200 years back. In 215 aphorism, he mentioned that almost all the so-called mental and emotional diseases are nothing more than corporeal diseases, in which the symptom of derangement of the mind and disposition peculiar to each of them is increased, while the corporeal symptoms decline. In aphorism 216, he mentioned that affections of the grosser corporeal organs become, as it were, transferred and conducted to the almost spiritual, mental, and emotional organs. Further, in 217 aphorism mentioned that in these diseases, we must be very careful to make ourselves acquainted with the accurate apprehension of the precise character of the chief symptom, of the peculiar and always predominating state of the mind and disposition. He further mentioned in aphorism number 225 that there are, however, as has just been stated, certainly a few emotional diseases which have not merely been developed into that form out of corporeal diseases, but which, in an inverse manner, the body being but slightly indisposed, originate and are kept up by emotional causes, such as continued anxiety, worry, vexation, wrongs, and the frequent occurrence of great fear and pride. This kind of emotional disease in time destroys the corporeal health, often to a great degree. So see the wisdom, see the far-sightedness of Hahnemann, who elaborated in depth the effect of stress on our body. So moving ahead to my personal experience, in a group of 1,243 patients with one or the other skin disorder under my observation during the past 5 years, It is thought that a few generalizations can be made regarding emotional stress coincident with or preceding their illness. So the onset of disease, this I did a couple of years back only. So while dealing with such cases, I thought why not let's make a chart, let's do a retrospective study, let's uh, study only those cases where I get favorable response. So I studied around 1,243 patients with one or the other skin disorder under my observation during the past 5 years. It is thought that a few generalizations can be made regarding emotional stress coincident with or preceding their illness. So I was like, whether there is in reality there are such cases, there is in reality the cause is stress behind these skin disorders, or is it just an assumption? But to my surprise, what I found was really, shocking. The onset of disease in many instances was associated with loss of support, such as death of husband or wife, separation from husband or wife, prolonged separation from family, or leaving home to become established. A number of patients I found that lichen planus developed after the death of the husband. Psoriatic patches, which were nowhere in the past, developed after a couple of years of death of their son. Similarly, I found that the students who, for a better experience, for a better future, leave their parents, leave their hometown, and settle abroad. And their parents suffer, they brood, they suffer silently. Because they are accepting the fact that their son went to Canada for a higher studies to become to establish oneself in one particular field, to earn more, to become financially independent, to reach a particular position in a society. But inside, they are simply brooding. The the boy, the baby, whom who was the star of their eye, he left all of a sudden, and they can't even express such stress to others because they feel weaker. At the same time, they are proud that their son or their daughter is having admission in a very good college. But internally, they are feeling, they are suffering. Rather, I would say they are missing the child. So the onset of disease in many instances was associated with loss of support, such as death of husband or wife, separation from husband or wife, prolonged separation from family, or leaving home to become established. So one factor that was clearly under so many patients was loss of support. So I thought that let's study this particular thing only from homeopathic point of view, from repertorial point of view. Loss of support, be it in any form, be it because of death of spouse, be it because of divorce, be it because of separation or leaving home. What happened? What is the exact feeling behind that loss of support? The exact feeling is feeling of abandonment. I'm left all alone in this world. Since the day my husband died. There is no one who take care of me. Who will take care of me in my old age? Because my son, my daughter has left, you know, left us or they have settled abroad. So they are having marked feeling of abandoned, marked feeling of being alone, marked feeling of, forsaken. So let's study that particular feeling from homeopathic point of view, from repertorial point of view. So there are more than 100 medicines under this rubric forsaken feeling. So when you are getting this particular symptom, or rather I would say that this particular rubric, that yes, my patient is having a strong forsaken feeling, or he or she is having +4 marks intensity wise, I would give, for this rubric of forsaken feeling, what should be my next step? Then you have to differentiate how is the forsaken feeling of one medicine with the other medicine. You have to focus more on understanding of the personalities of that particular medicine in respect to forsaken feeling. This will ease and this will shorten your selection of medicines. Of course, you'll have to cover totality, but by doing this, you will, broaden your results, broaden your horizons, and you will narrow your selection of medicines. And it will be a quick prescription. So let's study how this feeling is different in different medicines. First of all, what exactly is forsaken? A dictionary defines to forsake as the action of abandoning, giving up something valued or enjoyed. Consequently, someone who feels forsaken feels abandoned, given up by people who previously used to value him or her. The feeling that he is not loved, that he has lost his friends, a fear of loneliness, of being left on one's own in life, expressed in a fear of the death of those closest to him. You see a person who previously enjoyed the love of friends and later lost it and feels alone, deserted, like a castaway. Therefore, we may conclude that key ingredient to feeling forsaken is an intense aloneness, aloofness. Secondary to that is the conviction of having lost in value. So now let's try to differentiate the forsaken feeling of different remedies. That is why there is a forsaken feeling in XYZ medicine and how it is different from ABC medicine. Let's start with Orum's forsaken feeling. As you all know, Aurum is very duty-bound personality. He is conscientious, careful, as if he were the keeper of some extremely valuable treasure. Responsibility can wear a man thin. This is exactly what happens in Aurum. After all, he lives in the constant fear that someone may come and rob the treasure which he has the duty to guard. One day, he comes to work and finds that all the gold has been stolen. This is the point where the Aurum pathology begins. In keeping with this idea, Aurum developed anxiety of conscience as if guilty of a crime. He feels as if he has let down both the people and friends. This emotion is so deep that Autumn sees no way out. He has utterly failed. That is the only way out, the only way to purge the soul of the sin. So just imagine a father whose only mission in life was to take care of his child, to give his child the better education, the better life, to give his child more than what he deserves. And in order to give his son that particular life, he forgets his own life. He takes so much of responsibility that he forgets his own enjoyment. His only, only mission is to take care of his child. And one fine day, all of a sudden, the child left abroad, leaving his father all alone. This this particular factor will initiate the process of destruction inside the body. All of a sudden, all his expectations vanished. He becomes anxiety. There develops an anxiety of conscience. In Autumn's reality, he is only accepted in society and able to live in harmony when he is capable of keeping up with his duty. Therefore, Autumn is predisposed to feeling forsaken. He is prone to feel lonesome with his responsibility. It is hard for him to share in the more cheerful parts of life and to socialize. However, this feeling of being alone and deserted becomes infinitely stronger when he can't keep up with his duty anymore. Then he feels that he has lost his moral right to be a member of society and become an outcast. He has fallen in disgrace with God in the world. In this, we have the root cause of Autumn's forsaken feeling. So, how Pulsatila's forsaken feeling will be different from Autumn's forsaken feelings? Let's see. As you all know, Pulsatilla is known as the BP, irresolute and affectionate female. A major portion of Pulsatilla's symptoms has to do with seeking or eliciting support from other people. She gives the impression that she always needs someone around to tell her what to do, console her, and support her. Pulsatilla's many fears express a deep-rooted foreboding anxiety. Her indecisiveness and constant asking for guidance paint the picture of somebody who has no opinion or goal of herself. He or she is always, asking for guidance, asking for, help, asking for, for a support. And this indecisiveness till that time, they are receiving that support. Till that time, uh, anyone is guiding that particular pulsatilla patient. Till that time, he's somebody is there to take care of him. Till that time, everything is okay. And the moment that shock and the moment that support falls, pulsatilla starts shattering. In light of this description, it is understandable that pulsatilla is easily disposed to feeling forsaken. Someone who depends on other people for support always live in the danger of losing it. And without it, a feeling of being alone, deserted, abandoned, forsaken fills the soul. Any action which may be interpreted as a lack of support or being let down will evoke a strong feeling of being forsaken in pulsatilla. So there in Aurum, we found that since he was quite responsible, he considered the studies of the child, their children, to be as his duty. And once the study is over, he has nothing to do that. What now? Now what? Now my child is well settled. Now I don't have anything to do. For whom I should earn now? For whom I should work so hard? All of a sudden, I don't have anything to. I don't have any ambition in my life. The only ambition in my life was to settle my children. Now they are well settled. Now what? And they are not with me. They left me. And here, what the exact feeling of pulsatilla is? My husband left me. He was the only one who was supporting me throughout my life. He was the only one who was taking care of me. He was the only one who was guiding me to take this step or that step, to go in this direction or in that direction. And now he's no more. Where should I move now? In right or in left? What should I eat now? So he was totally dependent upon his husband. So are you getting me? The feeling. Try to understand the core feeling behind that forsakenness, behind that abandonness in different perspective. So moving ahead with the Sorinum's forsaken feeling. Sorinum has this feeling of being forsaken or left alone, but for some different reason. Sorinum feels poor. There is lack of everything, great sadness, hopelessness. He sees no light, all is dark about him. He always keeps complaining. I have not enough of this or that. I have not enough energy. I have not done my duty as I should have. I have not enough love, and so on. So there is hopelessness, there is sadness, there is lack of willpower, there is brooding, there is self-blaming. He is never satisfied by any damn thing. So he feels poor, there is lack of everything, great sadness, hopelessness, he sees no light, all is dark about him. He always keeps complaining, I have not enough of this or that, I have not enough energy, I have not done my duty as I should have, I am not enough loved, and so on. He thinks he fails in everything he do. Business is going to be a failure, that he has sinned away his days of grace. There's a fixed idea during the day and he dreams about it at night. This overwhelming sadness, dejection, no joy in family, feeling that these things are not meant for him, feeling of not having enough attention, help, support by others leads to this forsaken feeling. Correct? Let's study Platina's forsaken feeling. Platina feels deserted or isolated because she isolates herself. She is very haughty and arrogant, as you all know. There is pride and high opinion of oneself and has some contempt for others. She imagines that she is of a high-born family and that her friends and relatives are of lower origin and is inferior to her, so she looks down upon them. She puts herself upon a mountain top, and once a person is on such a height, everything seems far away and feels lonely. So her inherent haughtiness and superiority complex isolates her. So she thinks that nobody is at par with me. I am here, everybody is here. So she puts herself upon a mountain top. And and once a person is on such a height, everything seems far away and feels lonely. So, so Platina will always keep a distance, physically as well as mentally, because the other person is not up to the mark, because the other person can't match his or her personality. So she imagines that she is of a high-born family and that her friend and relatives are of lower origin and is inferior to her. So she looks down upon them, and at the same time she keeps them away. But gradually, since they are all away, she felt like that nobody is with me, without understanding that you are the only one who is responsible for this aloofness, aloneness. Similarly, cyclamen. If one is banished and forced to be alone, abandoned and forsaken, either by the self or seemingly by others, it is often to be found that guilt is at the core of this mandatory existence. In reality, a wilderness can be a big place or a small place, all depending on the focal point of each case. It can be a vast open space or a tiny prison, but the emphasis is on persecution or having done some wrong, and whether the wilderness is huge or tiny. One can still feel confined to or stuck within. And so, cyclamen hangs their heads as if in shame. So here, guilt is behind this forsaken feeling. That something, I have done something wrong, I have done something terribly wrong, and I am ashamed of that. That's why I should not meet my friends. But at the same time, since I am not meeting my friends because I am guilty, I am feeling aloofness. Hope you're getting it. Let's move ahead to Dalkamara's forsaken feeling. For Dalkamara, this forsaken feelings come if people don't show the gratitude they expect because they are domineering their relationship. They like to control others. They are very possessive and thus they want everyone to respect them, obey them. And when others don't do like that, they feel forsaken. You know, Dalkamara people, patients are very helpful by nature. They move mountains to help you. But at the same time, they expect that because I helped you, you must respect me. Since I was there, since I was there in your tough time, I should expect you to be with me even before my tough time. So here the expectations are much higher. So if people don't show the gratitude they expect, they feel abandoned. How Kalika developed forsaken feeling? Forsaken feeling of Kalika refers to the loss of something that cannot be restored. Whatever is lost forever, and it's not possible to repair it. They have a serious moment of decompensation when they experience a loss. In Kalika, this forsaken feeling occurs after the death of the head of the family, be it a father or a husband. Now see the minute difference. Forsaken feeling after death of a head of a family, be it a father or a husband, we can get it in pulsatilla, we can get it in aurum, we can get it in any XYZ medicine. But what's the difference? Aurum is like my only duty in my life was to take care of my child, but now he's no more. I don't have anything in future. I don't have anything left in my life. I don't have any ambition left in my life because I live my entire life for my child only. Pulsatilla's in same situation, she will react or she will become sad because the only person who was taking care of him is no more now. My pillar of strength, the one who was the biggest supporter for me, my father or my husband is no more now. So who will support me now? But here in Kalika, why he becomes sad or why he becomes all alone or why there is forsaken feeling in Kalika after the death of a family member is because there is a feeling that she has left one of her pillars, so she has nothing that can give any means of support. This support, but mind well, the difference here with pulsatile is the next line. This support is never an affectionate, strong support. It is not the loss of an emotional love. It is the loss of some kind of material support or someone who tells you the right ways how to breathe, how to eat, how to live. When they describe their existence, it is usually something pretty basic. So, in ornament, emotions are strongly attached. In pulsatilla, emotions are moderately attached. In Kalikar, there is no as such affection, there is no as such emotional bonding. It is not the loss of an emotional love, it is the loss of some kind of material support or someone who tells you the right ways. The forsaken feeling after the death of her husband in Kalikar is not because she had lost his love, but it is because her husband is useful, because at least he can provide some money for the family. They do not see what is important in terms of emotions. Unlike carcinosin, unlike phosphorus, unlike netramure, or even pulsatilla, what is important in their basic need, in Kalika's basic need is eating, money, what is basic to survive. And the one who is providing him money, providing her money, or food, or love was the husband, and he's no more now. So whatever is beyond the basic needs is kind of optional. In many other remedies, after the death of family member, be it a father or a husband, you can find someone who tells you, at least I had the support of my mother and my friend. But for the Kalika, the loss is losing the only fragile thing that was supporting them. The only person who was feeding them, the only person who was providing money for all his basic needs was his father, and he's no more. So this is the reason why Kalika develops forsaken feeling. He never realizes that I do have another support in terms of my mother. Hope you're getting the point. Let's move to magnesium carbonicum's forsaken feeling. Not a keynote symptoms of magnesium carbonicum forsaken feelings feels not being loved by his parents, wives, or friends. So here there is a delusion, there is a feeling that nobody loves me, nobody cares for me. The magnesium feeling is that the person doesn't get the care, protection, nourishment that he needs. It is a state of an infant dependent on the mother for nourishment, care, security, and support, but who has been abandoned by his parents. It is a feeling of an orphan. In most magnesium carbonicum patients, there is a total repression. They feel that they should not make any demands on anyone, should not ask anyone for help. Because they consider themselves as orphan. So they should not demand anything. Similarly, whenever any sort of carbon element, be it in natrium car, be it in ammonium car, be it in any XYZ car, you will get some sort of relations disorders. The natrium carbonicum woman needs just one relationship and is very dependent on this one relationship, without which she feels tremendous fear,
Hello, sir. Bidani, sir, we can't hear you. Just hold on, sir. Can you hear me? Students, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you
Yes,
hear,
sir.
sir? Can you hear, sir?
No, sir, can't hear.
Just hold on. Then someone. Sir, try कीजिए. Can you hear me? Bidani, sir? Can you hear me? Dr. Bidani?
Natram card. Hope I am audible now. Yeah.
You're audible, sir. You can go on now.
Okay, sir. So we were discussing forsaken feeling of Natram card. So the Natram card woman needs just one relationship and very dependent on this one relationship, without which she feels tremendous fear, sadness, and sense of isolation. Natram Kaab is very sensitive, especially to separation from the beloved and to the breaking of relationships. When the beloved is not there or he has gone away, the patient shows great sadness, reacting to sad music, especially that from the piano. They desire to make contact but have been unsuccessful in forming relationships and blame themselves for it. They become estranged from their family and friends and bear this grief silently. Natramka people can have a severe inferiority complex, especially in the sphere of forming relationships. They may feel unworthy of love or of any relationship. I have found in Natram Carbonicum a history of disturbed relationships with one of my patients, especially being forsaken or neglected by the father or mother. A woman may give the history of having been neglected by the father in childhood. It is interesting to note that Natrum Carbonicum does not have any fear or delusions of animals. She is only afraid of people. Natram Karv is afraid of the human quality of forming a group and casting people out. They are sympathetic and help others, sensitive, especially to the suffering of people who are lonely and forsaken by society, for example, with beggars. So, this is how you should learn one rubric. So this is how you should differentiate so many medicines in one single rubric, and it will help you treat more patients successfully. So how I take this feeling, how I take these essence of the medicines, we'll discuss in next chapter, clinical cases. So far, in first one half of this lecture, we have studied how stress impacts our body, our skin, how and why we develop psoriatic patches, how and why we develop itching, urticarial rashes, any XYZ disease after the stress period. And in my clinical practice, what I gathered out of those more than 1,000 cured cases, only of dermatological cases, the main reason behind was loss of support, be it of you know husband, be it of son, be it of any close friend, and how that feeling is different in different medicines, and how we should pick any particular medicine having that feeling of aloofness, aloneness, and how we should proceed. So now is the second chapter, how I cure my cases, or what is my approach in such disorders, in such dermatological disorders, or I would say any other disorder. So let's learn from the cured cases. So I'll be teaching you my experience of last 22 years. So just watch, think, and discuss. So let's discuss. But before that, before going ahead to the next slide, before discussing cured cases, I would like to just give you one main point, that case taking is a very pious interaction between doctor and patient. We must respect the fact that a patient is here to share his whole life with us, provided you are having a capable ears, you are an ear to his problem. He entrusts you, he entrusts us to dwell into its deepest secrets buried in subconscious, which is the window to the soul. That is why before we begin to proceed the study of a case taking, we must acknowledge the purity of this act. Means what? We should respect the doctor-patient relationship. Whatever be the reason, whatever be the cause behind the suffering of a patient, if he or she is trusting you, is sharing all his hidden secrets with you, you should have a responsibility. You should have some ethically duties towards your patients. Never ever share those secrets openly with anyone. Here, in all my cases, I have changed the names of my patients. And those photographs, I took prior permission to share all these photographs with you all today. So don't ever publish any of your patients' photographs or testimonials or videos without taking their written permission. Okay. So let's move ahead to case number one. It was a case of a 34-year-old lady who came to see me in 2019. She had numerous physical problems. She would get tonsillitis often, digestive issues, acidity, and heartburn. Of course, her major concern was her psoriatic patches. There were patches on the underarm, thighs, and legs which were itchy. When she would scratch hard, there would be some water oozing from the patches. They would increase for no apparent reason, and at times they were manageable but always there. So, mind well, in all these cases, came the typical textbook symptoms, disease symptoms of a disease, be it a psoriasis or lichen planus or whatnot. So we have to focus more on PQRS symptoms rather than the disease symptoms. So I have not taken any such common disease symptoms while repertorizing. And even you should not take such symptoms. You will get itching in 99% patients of psoriasis, 99% psoriatic patients. You will get itching that gets aggravated during sweating, that gets aggravated at night in 99% of tinea patients. So there is no point taking that rubric, itching, aggravation, night, itching, aggravation, sweets, itching, aggravation, perspiration. These are all common symptoms of tinea. Dryness aggravates itching. It's a basic physiology. Whenever your skin is dry, you will get itching. You should not give such symptoms any importance. So you will realize in my next session, next cases, I have not taken all such symptoms. Let's move ahead. So this was a case of a 34-year-old lady having psoriatic patches under RM, sorry, on the underarm, thighs, and legs. When she should scratch, there should be some water oozing on the patches. So there was no as such strong family history. Father was healthy, mother was having hypertension. So moving ahead to the most important part of his life, like she was brought up in a middle class Hindu family. She is the youngest of three sisters. Since childhood, her mother did not treat her well and blamed her for the father leaving them. Her parents had tried to abort her but were unsuccessful. She felt unwanted. So, the very first important symptom after an hour of her taking the case, what I found was her parents had tried to abort her but were unsuccessful. She felt unwanted. All of a sudden, I thought, this is a magnesium patient. There is a feeling of orphan feeling is there. So don't jump to conclusion on just one word. Since she felt unwanted, that doesn't mean she is feeling, you know, that she is having no mother and father. Let's probe more. Let's ask direct questions now. Her mother always hated her, but after her marriage, her mother has become nice to her. She prays and asks God to forgive her mother, but she can never forget. She has a very pessimistic outlook towards life. Before marriage, she was a very independent person and took decisions with ease. However, now she is fully dependent on her husband and will consult him to ask if she should go to the school picnic even. In spite of the fact that her mother always hated her, she prays and asks God to forgive her mother. But at the same time, she can never forget. She confesses that her husband is cooperative and nice. However, he can't satisfy her need for love. She always broods for several days. If anybody says something to her, she cannot bear any criticism and opposition. She is a very emotional person and suffered when in 2018 she was bedridden and none of the family members came to her rescue. Only her mother helped her. And since that day, she left, she felt the feeling that from so many years, I was taking care of my family. I was taking care of my husband during his tough times. Now, when I was ill today, nobody came to help me. Nobody even took a leave for one single day just to help me because I am ill. It was only her mother who helped her. She craves for sympathy from others. She holds grudge but doesn't want revenge. So here, a couple of medicines get involved. Grudges are there, but revengeful attitude is not there. She wants to forgive even those persons, but at the same time, she can't forget. Even if, even in next chance, even if next, if they are in trouble, even now, she is the first person to help them. But since she was very emotional, she felt bad that nobody came to help me when I was ill. She likes to be indoors and wants to clean all the time. Her son tells her that she should join the municipality to do the cleaning campaign. So that was, a taunt. That was a sarcasm. Just because she was quite a perfectionist, she was having a fastidious nature of cleaning, of keeping each and everything at their proper place. But who was the one who give him give her a sarcastic Combined was his only son. Her son tells her that she should join the municipality due to her cleaning talent. At work, she's a perfectionist, never likes to take help from someone. She is quarrelsome at home, but in school, she's afraid when others are fighting. She was a school teacher. So she hides in the bathroom when neighbors are fighting. She has a habit of talking to herself. She has low self worth. She feels that she reacts unnecessarily towards her husband and is beyond her control. She likes to share her problems with her sister, likes to pray to God and sing hymns. She was pretty much having a craving for sour things, and she is thermally chilly by nature. So, analysis of the case. This was the only case. Diagnosis of phase of disease: chronic, fully developed, mathematically reversible disease. Agree with this? Constitutional approach followed by an anti-miasmatic remedy. This should be our approach. Anti-miasmatic remedy only if needed. It's not, the criteria. Don't make it a criteria that each and every case needs an anti-miasmatic remedy. It's not like that. At times, you don't need any second prescription. First dose of first medicine is can cure to the depth, to the layers. So here, in this particular case, there is a strong, good chance of recovery since the susceptibility is good and the miasmatic load in the family background seems negligible because there was no as such strong family history of psoriasis or any other skin disorder. So I took all these rubrics: loneliness feeling, abandoned, for second feeling and feeling of abandonment, delusion, worthless he is, imaginations is worthless, offended easily, brooding, perfectionist, benevolence. Benevolence is caring, you know, having a heart to care in spite of the fact that they are very mean. They never take care of her, but still she is good at heart. Religious affections, over responsibility, whispering to herself, discontented with oneself, careful, critical, scrupulous, conscientious, preserved displeasure, and imagine that she is unfit for the world. Any guesses? And why this reserved displeasure rubric? Anyone? Are you with me? Oh, any guesses? Any wild guess? Whatever you are thinking, be it a right or a wrong answer, that hardly matters. I just want to know: are you with me? Are you listening to me? Are you giving proper attention? If yes, then just type what you know. Is there any medicine that is occurring to you? There, are you feeling any sort of picture in front of you that yeah, this is the medicine. This can be the medicine.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, the patient is in reserved displeasure because she's not expressing.
Yeah. And what else?
She does not want to express. She's just silently brooding.
Exactly.
Like she knows that since her childhood, her mother is not liking her. and
Yeah.
that may also be the reason that this brooding and all these things, they are in her mind since childhood, because she's suffering all the things, like she's in this kind of mentality since her childhood. So this is
Right.
affecting her mind, her thought process.
Perfect. Yeah. And also, she confesses that her husband is cooperative and nice. However, he can't satisfy her need for love. And at the
Yes.
same time, she even, she is just expressing this, but she is not expressing this particular thing to her husband. She is reserved by nature. It is just because we as a doctor, we tried that she should get open up in a couple of meetings. This was not the crux of single meeting. This entire case was for after 3 or 4 or 5 meetings. So she was hard. She could hardly express her need for love, but she was brooding inside, as you just mentioned perfectly.
यस सर।
So
सर जैसे वो
why
घूल मतलब अंदर ही अंदर वो घुल रही है, मतलब इतने सालों से।
this is brooding exactly is
यस।
internally, she's like, there's no one who is taking care of me, because
हम्म।
in one corner of her heart there is, even she is not that much emotionally attached with her mother, because during the initial years her mother left her away. I mean, as in, she was not as such emotionally attached, and she was like, she felt like unwanted. But later on, of course, she like, she loved her mother, and then she tried to forgive her. But still, there is some deeply she was sometimes, since the childhood she was brooding and she was feeling hurt, and she was quite deserved. So that's real. And are you getting any sort of medicines in your mind? Which medicine is
सर
having, who is conscientious by nature, who is discontented with oneself and others, who is having a strong sense of duty, who is perfection, who is benevolence, and who is having a strong abandoned feeling. And at the same time, now she is feeling worthless. We just read this particular medicine under the feeling of for a second. So let's see. So this was the
और
repertorization result.
यस औरम।
Yeah, Aurum. So I prescribed her Aurum at 201 single dose. Think of Aurum when you see despair plus pain plus depression, wrapped in deep, sad thoughts, suffers from delusion that she has lost the affection of her friends and that her friends have lost confidence in her, expects to be respected, understood, and not criticized. So even one statement from her son that you should join the municipality was enough to hurt her. So expects to be respected, understood, and not criticized. Holds anger for a long time, tormented by excessive amounts of mental suffering. Tormented, इतना बार उसको इतना हर्ट हुआ है कि उसकी पाइल अप हुए जा रही हैं लेयर्स बाय layers. But at the same time, they always believe in giving more to people than they expect from them. They are hardworking. They think that it is her responsibility to help her family, even if they are not responsible enough to take care of her. So I saw her a month later. Initially, the skin was very itchy. Now it is slightly settled, about 10 to 50%. Of course, he had an attack of tonsillitis with fever, but the good part was, it lasted for 3 days, and it got cured by its own. Acidity is slightly less. After another 1 month passed by, the patches are still there, but they are itchy. when I go to sleep, do get acidity if I am not careful with food and I am thinking of taking up a job. So now she started thinking about herself. I should do some job. Next follow up after 1 month, I feel slight improvement in eruptions, no other change, no new symptoms. Treatment continue on placebo. Follow up after one more month, eruptions on back better than before. Itching persists, but in less intensity, no new symptoms. Treatment continues same as it is. Keep her on placebo. Next follow up after 1 month, itching less than before but persists. Eruptions much better, healing now. Eruptions all over are improving. Not much scale formation now, no new eruptions. Generals are good, had a fever with throat pain which subsided without any medicine. Next follow up after 1.5 months, eruptions much better than before. Itching stays for only 15 minutes or so, and with redness, no scale formation, pain in both legs today. That was quite, once in a while. It's okay. So treatment continues the same as it is. Follow up after 8 months of starting the treatment. One single dose of Oromet 1 ml, 8 months on each and every month she was feeling, yeah, I am okay, I am okay, I am fine, I am fine. There are no new eruptions in spite of change in weather, in spite of eating habits. Once I had this in this, once I had spicy, but still I am having no as such itching and no new eruptions. So after 8 months of starting the treatment, no eruptions, no itching, feeling much better. And this was the visible proof before treatment and after treatment. So So here our selection of medicine was purely on the state of mind of that patient. You must have noticed that in this particular case, I didn't take even a single rubric pertaining to skin or psoriasis or anything else. It was purely on mental symptoms. So let's move ahead to second case. This is quite an interesting case. As a homeopath, I'm used to people, assuming that I can use remedies most like a magic wand to cure skin conditions such as eczema and psoriasis. You know, patients expects a lot from us, and most of the times, patients to a homeopath comes with a reference. So, doctor, you have treated my, colleague, and she was having psoriasis. Even I am also having psoriasis. Please, she was better in 3 months, so I expect you to treat me in 2 months. So, as a homeopath, I am used to people assuming that I can use remedies almost like a magic wand to cure skin conditions such as eczema and psoriasis, even those of many years standing. In reality, it can be very different. Skin conditions can be stubborn and very tricky indeed. However, sometimes when you are spot on with your prescribing, the results can be almost magical. Such a case was that of Hitesh. He came to the clinic last year having tried many different treatments for the psoriasis, all of which had given very limited relief. So Hitesh worked in the city for a leading private bank. He was 47 at the time of the consultation. He was overweight and very jolly, a typical hail fellow, well met sort of a guy who enjoyed life. When I asked him what he wanted treatment for, and he said his psoriasis, I thought, okay, could be tricky. But when I asked him where he had the psoriasis, and he replied, everywhere. My heart sank. I was convinced this was going to a very long haul. Added to this was the fact that he had been on psoriatic medicine for past 8 years, and there had been a lot of steroid cream use. And he was expecting me to cure him as early as possible. So that was a potential nightmare. Long-standing psoriatic cases, abuse of steroid suppression from steroid creams, extensive, all over the body it was there, and he was expecting a very quick result. So launching into the consultation, it became clear that Hitesh was a bit of a joker. He had a great sense of humor, and any chance to get an innuendo or quip in was seized upon. Taking all of this into account, though, there seemed to be an underlying sadness. I got the distinct impression that his bluff attitude was covering up something. Here, your power of imagination, your observation should be capable enough. You should be capable enough to see into the eyes of the patient. You should be capable enough to perceive what's going on inside the mind. Even though there seemed to be an underlying sadness, I got the distinct impression that this love attitude was covering up something. I asked him directly. At times, we have to put up a direct questions. Even though during our, theory, BHMS or MD classes, we often have, we often the teachers, or rather even classical theoretical lectures, we often give our students that don't put direct questions. But in practice, at times you have to ask some direct questions as well. So I asked him how it was very well with him. After discussing the psoriasis and not being able to find anything out of the ordinary, I asked him what was going on in his life when it first erupted. He told me that his skin had always been on the dry side, but it started to clear up as psoriasis when he was going through a very acrimonious divorce. It began on the backs of his elbows and then spread over the rest of his body. Only his face and genitals were spared. When I probed further about the divorce, I learned that his wife had instigated proceedings. It was quite disturbing. His wife had instigated proceedings. There was these proceedings in the court. Hitesh had thought that everything was fine. Now, this led to more questions about the trigger. What did he think of his wife? A complete bitch. Did he challenge her or confront her over the proceedings? No. He let her have it all and kept quiet for the sake of the children. So the nutshell was that the fault was entirely his wife, and but still he kept quiet for the sake of the children, and he attended all the proceedings. He never, confront over her or he challenged her. He simply accepted each and everything. Okay, fine, it was all my fault. So he let her have it all and kept quiet for the sake of the children. Was he still angry with her or still hate her? Yes. And when he thinks of all the things he didn't say and wants to say, he gets angry and depressed. I had found an angel into the case, a theme of resentment or anger against a loved one. This is very important. You can directly jump to the medicine with these points. A theme of resentment or anger against a loved one, disappointed love and suppressed anger. Remedies were coming to me, but I needed more information before I could prescribe. So I learned that Hitesh was disappointed with the medical management of his psoriasis. He appreciated it, that it was a difficult condition, but felt nobody took it seriously. After all, it wasn't life threatening, but it was all over his body and made him very self conscious. So, these were all his wordings. What woman in her right mind is going to want a fat guy with a skin disease? So, he was becoming quite conscious about those, patches, psoriatic patches. However, the event he is most indignant and angry about was what happened when he went for a UV light treatment. Since the patches were extensive, he went to a dermatological center, a very big dermatological center in Delhi. I won't mention the name of that center. So there he was told that you'll have to undergo a UV therapy, and for that you'll have to stand naked in the unit so that you will get the full exposure of the UV light. So he was told to stand naked in the unit but to cover his genitals. When he asked what he was advised to use a bit of his clothing. So I stood there feeling like the biggest brat in creation, stark naked with a sock over my belly. So even this serious matter he narrated so, in such a witty language. So this is how his sense of humor was. Hitesh related this tale light-heartedly and we laughed about it. But when I asked him how he really felt, he said he was angry. It was yet another instance where he was made to feel a fool and he resented it. Resentment again, anger again. So Hitesh described other events where the theme of becoming angry but remaining quiet to keep the peace was a common thread. He admitted that his temper was getting shorter. He would snap at people and then bite back before he went too far. So, medicine, बताओ. Angry but remaining quiet. Natramure, very good. Prokasharya, Natramure can be one of the, medicine having such sort of suppression or repression. But whether the entire theme went into this, do you feel Natramure can be so jolly and Natramure can be so um, witty, or do you think Natramure can open up so easily and can share such sort of embarrassments in such a witty manner? I don't think so. Based on the themes of suppressed anger or emotions, feeling betrayed by the woman he loved, and his indignant feelings to various episodes in his life, I prescribed Stepsagaria. You are very close, Dr. Sharia. Natramuse is quite a medicine which is quite near to this Stepsagaria. They are having the same circle: Ignatia, Stepsagaria, Natramuse, but there are finer differentiation amongst these three. I did so with some trepidation. This remedy has a reputation for lifting the lid on that bubbling pot of suppressed emotions. This is like, you are hitting at the point only. Bullseye. You are hitting at the bullseye. And once you hit that particular weak spot of that patient, it will bubble up. In fact, it is often referred to as the divorce remedy. And this can often be the result when given to a partner who has had enough of being put upon and taken for granted. So I gave him the 30th potency. I arranged to see him a month later. Ha. See another witty part of this. Leaving the clinic, Hitesh apologized for the snowfall of skin he had left on the floor. His psoriasis really was so bad. The eruption, the scabs were so much that it was literally like a shedding of a snowfall of skin. So when he came in for the follow-up consultation, neither of us could believe the result. His skin was virtually clear. The patches on his elbows, the first areas to be affected. This was the first follow-up. Mind well. So his skin was virtually clear. The patches on his elbows, the first areas to be affected, were still there and not much changed. But the rest of the skin was normal. Similarly, I would go a little bit fast now because I have to couple a couple of more cases. So this was before treatment and this was after treatment. So you can see, and at times your prescription is like such a bang on that you could even not imagine that such a fast results will come. Another case of a I'll go fast. Patient came with severe itching on various parts of the body. These are all the common symptoms. Uh, Doctor, I am suffering from this tachypathy since last 1 month, and the itch is immediate. This was an acute case because this was from the last 1 month. I don't know how it developed, but it getting worse day by day. Sometimes when I scratch, some kind of watery discharge oozes, but that happens really when the itch is worse. Itching is severe in morning, on waking up, and after some time after taking bath. Moisturizers and emollients do a little bit of relief. Constitution is like large belly, legs, fibers, bald. All his problems started after he was retired. He was a bank manager and was always in the good graces of all his customers, but not all colleagues. And he was diplomatic. Good with seniors and strict with juniors. He used to be rebellious at times, even with seniors. Duty bound, complete his work always before time and was even proactive. Financial struggle was the main thing on which his life was based. He was doing business also along with the job, but was deceived by his partner. After which his life took a big turn financially, and he has struggled all through his life to come out of that financial turmoil. Things are settling down now as family life is settled and kids are settled in their life. Sometimes he gets extremely emotional and sometimes indifferent to happenings around him. He arrived at an older age since never thought about settling down. His family pushed him to get into family life. High responsibility alternates with lethargy and lack of responsibility. He loves a luxurious life and wants the same for his family. Love for luxury with financial insecurities. Benevolence is also there in this case as well, short tempered at times. Physical generals, mild fatty liver, craving for spicy, hot patient. So I prescribed him lycopodium based upon all his personality and for 1 month only. First follow-up, itching reduced considerably, patches reduced to 30%, lycopodium 200 single dose, placebo for 1 month, placebo repeat after second follow-up, third follow-up, since there was itching was increased, I repeated lycopodium. Emotional turmoil was also there, so I so slightly disturbed. So I repeated lycopodium. Fourth and fifth follow-up showed progressive improvements, hence placebo was prescribed. Sixth follow-up, after 80% improvements, there were 2-3 new patches. Since new patches developed, I increased the potency of lycopodium 1 m from 10 m to 10 m, followed by placebo for 1 month. After 2 months, all patches went away within 2 months. And since then, that day, patient was on placebo for 3 more months. This was the case before the prescription of lycopodium and after the prescription of lycopodium. Uh, do you have a couple of more minutes, Dr. Samir, or
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have minutes. No problem, sir. You can continue, sir. You can finish the presentation. No problem, sir.
okay? So moving ahead with another case. This was a case of a 15-year-old girl who developed
Sir,
psoriasis vulgaris since
this last case you showed the photographs, right? Or I think the
yeah.
lycopodium case. Ah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I think I missed him. Nice case.
I prescribed lycopodium only. This was a case of actually this was not a psoriatic case. This was a case of prurigo nodularis.
Okay.
So I won't go into the much theoretical part of prurigo nodularis. Let the students read by their own what is prurigo
Yeah,
nodularis.
yeah. Okay, sir. Go on, sir. Thank you.
So another case, this was a case of a 15-year-old girl who developed psoriasis vulgaris since 2015. The eruptions appeared after she was isolated from her parents and sent to live with her grandparents. So In all these cases, you must have observed a feeling of forsaken, feeling of abandonment, one way or the other. Yeah. Even in this case, the eruptions appeared after she was isolated from her parents and sent to live with her grandparents. She used to weep by herself in bed when no one else was around. The girl had history of febrile convulsions during high fever. The girl had history of febrile convulsions during high fever in childhood. Further, she reported two incidents of superinfection, eruptions, and intervention with antibiotics when she was under the previous pluralistic homeopathy. Pluralistic homeopathy. I purposely mentioned this term because I have seen number of homeopaths, so-called homeopaths, who at the same time allow their patients to apply topical steroids, to apply emollients, and to apply any XYZ like clobetasol, neomycin, um, any other anti-allergic medicines as well. At the same time, they say to the patients, even if you are having so much of itching, you can take cetirizine to avoid that itching, but you'll have to give some difference between my medicine and that medicine. So this is not a classical homeopathy. You have to stick to the basics of homeopathy. At times, you are suppressing them with the topical steroids or with anti-allergic like cetirizine or cetirizine. At the same time, you are getting rid of the disease from inside. So family history was nothing more important. Father was having hemorrhoids, paternal grandfather osteoarthritis. Otherwise, the health of the family was good. First consultation took on this. The symptoms available for prescription were these were the symptoms. I'm not going into the depth of the case because we have very less time left now. So I took these rubrics: ailments from grief, weeping when alone, weeping or crying when alone, especially at night, vertigo, aggravation while rising, desire for salty things, desire for sore things, psoriasis in hands, especially on palms, and psoriasis in legs. Any wild guess? Dr. Shadia, any wild guess? Sure, move ahead. Ah, perfect. Who wrote this? Just skip. Dr. Sneha, perfect. Bingo. Nettermure. So you are quite intelligent students, Dr. Samir. Good one.
Yeah, they are all practicing doctors,
Uh,
so they have some experience about all
that's
that.
great.
Yeah.
Great. So it was obvious that psoriasis started after grief of separation from parents and it gave rise to specific fatality of symptoms. So I prescribed Netramute 10 mg. One dose was prescribed on 14/3/2019. Why 10 mg? Because there was strong, all the symptoms were pointing towards Netramute. When you are pretty sure, you can, and your prescription was entirely on mental symptoms, you will get better results with a higher potencies. So follow up, patient is better, continued on placebo. After say 1 month, continued with placebo, skin eruptions reduce, no vertigo. And then after a couple of more months, skin is still better with no lesions of psoriasis, menses regular. So this is how Nectarmute cured the case. This particular patient didn't give me permission enough to publish the photographs of her. This is also since she is Nectarmuratic, she didn't give me permission to publish her photographs, and she called me a couple of times. Please, doctor, do change my name. I said, okay, I won't even mention your name. So that's why I mentioned that a 15-year-old girl only. This is the only case where I didn't mention the name of the patient. So Netramure cured her wonderfully within say 6 months, I would say now, 6 7 months. This is a very short case. This is a case of a 35-year-old female, mother of two. This you all can judge. This is a very common medicine. In a couple of slides, you will be able to pinpoint, and we will be able to that quickly decide the medicine. You will quickly analyze what exactly this particular patient. So, a 34-year-old female mother of two was suffering from psoriasis from last 5 years. She has conflicts with her mother-in-law. The in-laws stay separately with the husband and children. There was a different story why her husband, they are living separately and all. So she believes her husband and in-laws are plotting a conspiracy against her. She was suffering from an acute episode of cough and asked her son to get medicine, but then feared he would he would add something to it that might kill her. So she was so suspicious that she couldn't even believe her own child, her own son. She even when she was suffering from an acute episode of cough, she thought that her son would give her something that might kill her. Fears that threat to her life from in-laws, staying away from in-laws and refusing anything less it is poison, suspicious, cautious. Reaction was threatening, believes she is surrounded by enemies. That's it. That was the case. Medicine. Suspiciousness, fear of poisoning, delusion that is surrounded by enemies, delusion that somebody is plotting a conspiracy against her. These are typical textbook language. Any guesses? Like guesses. Okay, you are very close. I would say very close. If I go through repertorial sheet, yes, like cases might come on number one.
Sir,
Hyoscyamus.
Hyoscyamus?
So yeah. So I took these rubrics: delusions, injured of being, delusion he has been poisoned, delusion of being betrayed, fear of enemies, fear, fearful nature is there. So lachesis is not fearful. Even you will find suspiciousness in lachesis and in hyoscyamus both, but lachesis won't, you will get fear from lachesis. Otherwise, in hyoscyamus, the person herself, hyoscyamus nature is quite fearful, unlike lachesis. So if we repertorize, I think I don't have that repertorization sheet. But if you repertorize all these rubrics, you will get lachesis on number one. But how you will differentiate lachesis from hyoscyamus is because of the fearful nature. Okay. So I prescribed her hyoscyamus niger, one single dose, 1 and 1 single dose, and the case was okay. The case was cured. Um, this was a, I'll take it very fastly. This is quite important because here this is the role of a lesser known remedy. A married woman of 33 years having one child, a teacher by profession, came to me XYZ date. When she came to clinic, she was on bed cream with betamethasone and corticosteroid. Eruptions are vesicular. It easily suppurates and develops cuts and cracks and used to burn a lot. She had a she had a lot of itching on the fingers. The itching and cuts were worse from water, and she was when she used to wash clothes. Sometimes she had pain in the fingers while working. There was swelling on the fingers also. Her menstrual cycles were normal. She is a possessive woman for her family, and family is very important for her. She was quite a family-oriented female. She has a reserved nature and is less talkative and likes to be silent and by herself. She likes bright colors, desires spicy food, and does not like sweets. Thermally, she is a chili patient. So I took all these rubrics: skin eruptions, breathing, washing aggravates, because here there was no as such mental rubrics, mental symptoms. My entire prescription was on, this was the only case from the last 5, 6 cases where I give importance to the physical symptoms, the skin symptoms related to, because here the symptoms were quite peculiar, right? So I took all these rubrics, and when I repertorized, the first remedy that occurred was sarsaparilla. So even when I studied Boric, there was clear-cut mention that eruptions following hot weather, whereas most of the times all the skin complaints increases or get aggravates during the winter season, because winter season brings dryness of the skin, and any skin disorder with dryness will increase the itching. So here the contrary point was eruptions following hot weather. So this was the picture before treatment. I prescribed Sarsapilla 30 once daily for 7 days, because since Sarsapilla is having a very short duration of action of, you must study the action of remedies as well. Sarsapilla is considered as the blood purifier, and it is having a very short term duration of action. So I prescribed once daily for 7 days. The eruptions were better by 20% after 7 days. Itching was less, but still there. She still had aggravation from contact with water. Burning was less, up to 50%. After 15 days, this was the improvement. But after 35 days, what happened? That during a follow up after 35 days, the theme of indifference came very prominently. It was not there so strongly in the first interview. Now she was irritable with her husband and child, though she loved them, but at the same time very indifferent to them. So meanwhile, it's not like that your first prescription was a bang on. At times, you'll have to change the prescription. So after the sarsaparilla, the theme of indifference came very prominently, which was not there so strongly in the very first interview. So now she was irritable with her husband and child, though she loved them, but at the same time very indifferent to them. And when I studied the relationship between sarsaparilla and sepia, what I found was that sarsaparilla and sepia follow each other well. So when sarsaparilla was given, it did its work, and after 35 days, the sepia layer emerged. After 1 month and 5 days, this is how the improvement was there. So when I studied sepia, it was clearly mentioned, as you all know, the washerwoman's remedy, complaints that are brought on by or aggravated after laundry work, indifferent even to one's family, to one's occupation, to those whom she loves best. And in relationships, sarsaparilla is frequently used after abuse of mercury. Sarsaparilla and sepia follow well each other. So sepia 1 dose, follow up after 3 months. Eruptions were totally gone. There is no itching. Now she can happily work in water. No burning is there. There are no marks on her fingers. See, after 3 months of treatment. So these cases demonstrates that classical homeopathy may have a solution to various skin diseases like psoriasis, lichen planus, eczema, atopic dermatitis, etc., which not only helps in skin clearance but also improve general health. Hence, homeopathy must be scientifically investigated further in light of such evidence. Thank you. Yeah, any questions?
Any questions for sir? Dr. Kalaivanik? Dr. Parvinder, any questions? Anjana, Shreya, Arpita, Manisha, Shazia, any questions for sir?
Hope it was okay, because see, I have taken those cases where I prescribed the most common medicines, most polyclast remedies. So you can see the power of magic, the power of C's polycrest medicine. Even if we are having a mastery of our 90 plus remedies, polycrest remedies, I'm damn sure you will treat more than 70 patients, 70% cases of your 70% cases, in your practice. So try to first learn from heart the exact personality, the theme of these polycrest remedies, and then you probe deeper into the other rare remedies. Because nowadays people or other students or doctors are running towards the rare remedies, the lesser known remedies. So first of all, let's study basic remedies. Let's learn and let's understand the basic remedies first. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much on behalf of Dr. Batra's Academy and all our students. I'm sure everybody must be very, very happy today. Your lecture was really very, very nice. And we are looking forward to one more lecture from you, one or two more lectures.
Sure,
So kindly
sure, sure. My
do us
pleasure.
the honors. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, students. Bye bye.